Are you struggling to come up with original content week in and week out? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients, let them talk about what they care about most, and never run out of content ideas again. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. Today we are joined by John Rounseville. John is the co-founder at Saxa Solutions. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm a recent and frequent listener.
You know, it always tickles me when we get to actually feature, our listeners on the show, because honestly, we're generating content for our listeners. So our listeners are the ones that are also, bringing their own expertise to the show. It's just fantastic content creation. John, today we are going to be talking about, I think, something very cool, how to scale and differentiate your business. We have a lot of listeners that find themselves in very noisy spaces. So this is a topic that is frequently top of mind, and I want to get into it. But before we do, obviously, John, tell us a little about Saxa Solutions and what you and your team are up to these days.
Yeah, so we are a healthcare and life sciences business process consultant. So we consult to healthcare providers, medical device companies, biotech companies on sales and service process, any kind of business process that they have. We are also partnered with Salesforce. So what we do is we provide Salesforce as the platform and move those companies onto the Salesforce platform. So that's what we consult around.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that you just got back from Dreamforce just last week.
Yeah, Dreamforce. It was speaking of noisy, it's Dreamforce is the annual conference. I think might be the largest business conference out there. 200,000 people congregating in the city of San Francisco, basically crowding everyone else out. We just got back from there. Really interesting stuff going on, but also, really difficult to plant your flag as well.
Yeah.
All the noise that's going on.
Yeah. And it's a perfect transition to, talking about, you're over there with 200,000 plus people. It's a huge conference, but you've got a lot of people trying to scale. They've got a lot of people trying to differentiate their business. So that was sort of the genesis, the inception of this topic today. So John, why don't you take it away? I think we're going to be kind of starting with content, but I don't want to step on your toes. So where are we starting today?
Yeah, so just to back up a bit, in the Salesforce ecosystem, and with any sort of platform like that, be it Google or Amazon Web Services or even Microsoft platforms, there are just huge ecosystems out there. So one of the issues that we had when we started about 2 years ago was, how do we differentiate ourselves from the other consulting partners in the space? So, it's one thing to be jack of all trades, master of none, and some partners go at it that way. Some consulting partners actually pick a vertical. Healthcare and life sciences happens to be the one that we picked. And then some partners actually go ahead and pick a platform or a cloud to really work in. We actually chose healthcare and life sciences, and we had a couple of different options. We had some expertise in energy. Keep in mind, 2 years ago, the price of oil was literally putting companies and countries in bankruptcy. So we also had expertise in hospitality, but we thought that was a bit too narrow. We had a good amount of expertise in healthcare, and we're actually based in the Boston area. So it's a really nice nexus of healthcare providers, lots of hospitals, there's lots of technology companies, there's lots of biotech here. And then there's also a lot of cash, there's a lot of capital here for investment. So having that expertise, we decided to, when we did first start, it was, okay, well, you can't really turn your nose up at pieces of business that are coming in the door. And that's what happens. You take what you can, and you want to start making some money as soon as you can. But as about 6 months in, we started to get more and more healthcare deals coming in the door, and then my partner and I decided to to pick a lane, as it were. We said, okay, we have all this business coming in. Let's realign our messaging and align our marketing specifically towards this healthcare space. So we literally did a 180 on our website. We changed all the messaging on our website. We really focused on that healthcare and life sciences market, and away we went. And it's not a small world, right? It's very specific to this area, but healthcare is a huge industry across the country and across the world. And I don't want to say it's recession proof, because nothing is, but people need healthcare, people need medical devices, and with the aging population, it's just a necessity, and it's a gap that we like to fill.
Yeah. And so you found yourself sort of specializing in this area, and like you said, I mean, it can be noisy. So, we've kind of got three different topics, three different areas that we're going to touch on when it comes to, okay, now you've found yourself in this area, in this vertical, whatever it is. What then can our listeners do?
Well, we were fortunate because Salesforce is the platform that we work in, and they have a very strong partner program. So, for example, Salesforce sells you the licenses and the platform for their product, but you need a partner to get stood up on it, right? You need to really customize it towards your business functions. And a lot of platforms are like this, right? So we actually had really good relationships within that partner ecosystem. I knew a lot of the account executives, and they trusted us with their business. So, they have 1,000 account executives out there running around selling. If you can get your message to 10 of them, hey, here's who we are and here's what we do, they can bring you into deals, and they're very good deals because they're about halfway done. Their customer is interested. It's not like you're walking into the door of a prospect and saying, hey, from soup to nuts, trying to take them through the sales cycle. They're already halfway through the sales cycle, and it's a pretty warm handoff. And if you get a referral from a partner platform, then that's half the battle. Our win rate within the channel is about 50% of all deals that come through. So that was a really good starting point for us. But again, it can only take you so far. And the risk is, what if a couple of the projects that you start off go wrong? Well, word gets around. Thankfully, that hasn't happened at all. We've done a pretty good job, and we've done a great job for our clients. But it can happen, right? A deal goes south, word gets around within that partner channel, and all of a sudden, those account executives aren't giving you any more deals. Secondly, you got to staff really quick, because they sell the licenses, and we have to jump in within 2 to 3 weeks to start the project, because they don't want to be paying for licenses that are just sitting on the shelf. They want to get up and running as soon as possible. So part of the deal is they sell the licenses, we have to get going as quickly as possible. That can be a problem when you're scaling, right? If you have 3 or 4 people, and we've grown beyond that now, thankfully, but in order to be able to meet the demands of the client, you need to be able to get on that project as quickly as possible, and that makes it really difficult to scale.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any pieces of advice then when you're talking about this idea of scaling quickly and aggressively?
Yeah, what we did was, one of the ideas we had was to start up an outbound sales team. So what that outbound team has enabled us to do is extend that pipeline forward 6 to 8 months, so we can see what our staffing needs are going to be able to hit the demand for those projects. And it's been great. It's old school. It's literally getting lead lists into the hands of our salespeople. We use Salesforce. We drink the Kool-Aid for that, for moving the deals through the pipeline. But it's dialing, it's leaving voicemails, it's emailing as follow-up, and people sort of say, well, cold calling is dead. I'm here to say it's actually pretty much alive and well. We've had really good success with it, because what happens is you make 60 calls in a day, you may catch 2 or 3 people or 4 people in a week that have just walked out of a meeting with their boss that says, we're having issues with our forecast. We need visibility to our business. Go find a CRM that can help us out here. or they're about to walk into a meeting with their boss who they know is going to ask, what's the deal with the CRM project going on right now? Where are we with it? And if you catch them at the right time, you could have that conversation. And that conversation then moves into another conversation about our capabilities. And then soon enough, you're in a conversation about scope and what they need to do. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about a statement of work. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about a project plan. So you can see how that outbound sales cycle can really feed that pipeline, over time with some real targeted dials and real targeted messaging.
Yeah. And, it does have a certain old school feel to it. And the people that have said, the calling is dead, it's because it's not as easily scalable. You can't send out 10,000 cold calls at once. And, the process is a little bit slower, but like you said, there are still positive results to be had if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and continue to cultivate those relationships.
Exactly. And the other piece of it is content, right? So we have good content creation going on, talking about our customer stories, what we've done for our customers in the past, what some use cases are for using the platform in this manner, what are some other use cases, how do providers use Salesforce? Because you got to remember, it's a really different industry. Healthcare providers are a different business model than regular old manufacturers or professional services companies. So if we can get real specific content about referral management or intake management and how we helped a healthcare provider improve their referrals or improve their outbound activities to dial into providers to increase those referrals. And then we can generate that content, get that into our outbound team's hand, put it on the website as well, but get it into our outbound team's hands for proof sources and say, hey, I wanted to have a conversation about this. Here's a quick blog post about how we helped another healthcare provider or how we helped another medical device company. Here you go. That really gets good traction with our clients, improves our subject matter expertise and really gives us industry expertise. It also feeds the channel. Right. So if I can get that content into the hands of, 100 Salesforce account executives who want to help their clients and want to get content into their hands because they want to stay top of mind with their prospects and with their customers, that amplifies our message. Right. It's almost geometric versus, one person emailing on my team. We have, 50 people emailing on their team into 50 different clients. So, and we've seen proof that that's working for us. We're starting to see some business come in through that channel because of that. It also keeps us top of mind for the channel as well. Hey, these guys are healthcare and life sciences subject matter experts, and I'm going to use them in my next deal.
Yeah, and I think this was one of the meatiest points that I was excited for us to make on today's episode is that you've got this content, and then you've mentioned this content is fueling your website for any inbound leads. You're then giving this to outbound sales and preparing them with this content. And thirdly, you're also strategically using it with whatever partner channels you might have. So, it's just being deliberate about, we've got this resource, we've got this content. How do we most strategically use it to, again, help differentiate our business from the rest of the pack?
You got it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it goes.
Well, John, I think this has been some tremendous content. If any of our listeners are interested in following up either about today's topic, which I think is a powerful topic, or they want to learn more about Saxa Solutions, or they just want to connect with you professionally, what's the best way for them to go out doing that?
They can visit saxasolutions.com and message me through there, or they can send me an email directly, john@saxasolutions.com. That's JOHN.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say again, it's just a testament to the power of this show and how fortunate we've been to get to connect with, industry leaders such as yourself. And so strongly encourage any of our listeners who are interested to definitely follow up. And John, thanks again so much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan.
If you're a B2B marketer, we want to feature you on sites like the Huffington Post, Social Media Examiner, and Chief Marketer. Every week, we send out a question related to B2B marketing. We use the responses to those questions to fuel the content we write for really popular websites. So head over to sweetfishmedia.com/questions and sign up today.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.